Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. If you're new to the channel, I talk about everything that could be helpful to us as a veteran community. The tip of the spear is really benefits, specifically VA benefits, compensation, pension, spousal benefits, and so forth. But today I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what I see, and at least from my viewpoint, right, of how benefits kind of work, how they've become into existence from the federal and the state level, and shine a little light on it, because I think that if we collectively understand the dynamic of how these benefits are working and why the states are offering certain benefits, kind of the behind the scenes, the behind the curtain peek of some of this stuff, we can work together to ensure that we continue to take care of each other and those that come after us. I believe that all of our benefits are really on the back of the veterans that came before us, if that makes sense. So it's usually a group of people. So whether it's the DAV, the American Legion, just big voices in the veteran community who are lobbying and essentially stomping on congressional desks to create action for benefits for us. Like John Stewart, for example, with all of the Gulf War respiratory issues. He was a huge advocate and a big voice, right? So there's a lot of lobbying that goes into effect. It's not just, hey, it's the right thing to do for the veteran community. It takes a lot of effort to get some of this stuff through the legal process, right? Through Congress, through the House, through the Senate, all of that stuff signed by the president, and then finally become a benefit that we can utilize as a veteran community. And I think that some of that gets lost. We just look at the VA and we look at it as though, hey, this is part of my benefits package, which it is, but we lose kind of touch on all of the effort that it took to get it there. It's way better than it's ever been before, and rightfully so. But I think that having that little bit of clarity and really understanding the amount of effort that it takes to get some of these laws through. Every year, there's hundreds and hundreds of pieces of legislation, maybe even thousands of pieces of legislation getting pushed through either the federal government or the state government, trying to make its way through. And a lot of it has to do with the lobbying actions of us as veteran groups, or again, veteran voices that carry some weight. And I'll tell you, one of my goals is, someday, hopefully I'll have enough followers on this to where I can be a bigger voice in that arena. Locally, sure, but at a national level, it takes a little more vibrato, and that comes with having a bigger voice. And in this day and age, you can leverage YouTube followings or other sort of social media followings to affect real change for us. And if you've heard me say it before, I believe that, if we're not taking care of each other, something went wrong. And I say that all the time, and it's because I truly believe it. And I'll tell you that with all of the federal benefits that we have in place and the new stuff that gets pushed through and all the lobbying that all this stuff does, one of the things that I ask people to do when I speak in person at different events and so forth is you either need to be a lobbying agent. In other words, wherever you live, you have a congressional member in your backyard, essentially. You need to bang on that congressional member's door. They work for you. And you need to tell them how important X, Y, or Z legislation is and stomp on their desk if you have to. Okay? You can do that. If you don't have time to do that, that's fine, right? A lot of us don't. If you don't, my ask to people is then sign up with an organization. A VFW, an American Legion, a DAV, whatever, right? Those are the kind of the big ones, right? Veterans of Foreign Wars, so on and so forth. If you sign up with an organization, the money that you pay, that membership fee, is going to help with the lobbying efforts, right? And you're tracked as another individual. So it's kind of like having another subscriber, right? So they're saying, it could be DAV, for an example. We have X number of members, right? So the more of us that sign up, the more members they have, the bigger voice they have to affect change in DC. So it's really, really important that we be engaged, be an active part, either directly by going to your congressional member's door and knocking on it, or indirectly by signing up with a whatever organization and having them represent you, right? So I personally have signed up, it gives and takes, right? So sometimes I'll miss some fees here or there, but at one point I think I was signed up with 7 or 8 different organizations. So the American Legion and DAV, all the way to like the Retired Enlisted Association or the Scottish American Military Society. So you name it, I've tried to sign up for it because it's just another number that they can represent as they're going to DC and championing this change or additional legislation for us. So that's the push piece. And I hope that you're staying with me here because I really want you to have an understanding. Now we're pushing federal legislation, and we'll push state too, but pushing federal legislation. Now what happens is the federal government will push through these benefits and so forth. Now, on the state side, you're going to see also pushing for different state legislations, different state benefits that you can get. However, why? Why is the state pushing for veteran benefits when the federal government's pushing out all these benefits? Why does the state step in and do it? You have any idea? I'll tell you why. I'm going to use California as an example. California is the largest veteran population state, okay? Makes sense, it's the largest state anyway. So California is the largest veteran population state, followed by Texas, then Florida. Okay, so that's your top 3, and then I think New York's number 4. So those are your top veteran population states. So these states will push through veteran benefits for state benefits, and part of the reason why, beyond it's the right thing to do, right? Part of the reason why is because the state governments aren't dummies, okay? They understand the value that a veteran brings to its ecosystem. And it's not just, how great we are, right? It's a veteran who's receiving, for example, an 80% rating or a 90% or 100% rating. Guess what? If things go sideways for that veteran, they make too much money to qualify for state benefits. So a lot of times the VA compensation will count as income in that application. So the state's not going to lose money on that veteran. Then, on top of that, the state's not going to lose out on medical, let's say, again, California, Medi-Cal, a California medical benefit for low or no income folks. A veteran who's attached to the VA has VA medical, so they're getting help from the Fed. So again, no drain on the state. Here's the amazing part. Compensation and pension payments into the state of California, for example, last year exceeded $8.5 billion with a B dollars into the state's ecosystem. And guess what? Veterans are really, really good at not saving their money. So it's being spent in the state, and the state is collecting taxes on it by sales tax. So even though it's a non-taxed benefit, if you spend it, you're getting taxed on it that way. So I hope that this video, puts some sort of, eye-opening into place, and just kind of understand a little bit about what we need to do as a community, working together to affect positive change. I hope that you, as the viewers, if you're still hanging on this long video, understand that my goal is beyond sharing information. It is being a voice for us and in helping to champion change where it's needed. And the more followers that I get, the bigger voice I can have eventually. And hopefully that happens sooner than later for that matter. And also understanding the states' kind of play in this, understanding how the states want to do more for veterans because they want the veterans to stay in their state. So it's a good way to leverage getting additional benefits if you have the right voices in place. So with that, I'll go ahead and cut it off. I know this was a long one, so I appreciate it. Just, again, sharing my own thoughts. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.